To be honest, I'm a little nervous about the people that I'm going to get watching this video. Oh boy. I know what you're thinking. And no, my problem with the future of the Force being female has nothing to do with hating women or Mary Sue's or whatever other garbage the misogynistic Star Wars fans keep complaining about. No, my issue with the future of the Force being female is the fact that I'm still waiting for it to happen. Future Force females, where are you? Maybe you're thinking I'm crazy. The female future force is here already. We got great female forces. Have I even seen Ahsoka? Or maybe you're thinking this video is irrelevant because of something you may already know that I'm clearly ignoring if I'm making this video. Don't worry, I know, and I'll get to that at the end if that's what you're thinking. Maybe you're not thinking that at all, and I should just stop making assumptions about what's going on in your head. Either way, let me put things into perspective. Of course, I'm going to be ignoring characters from the new High Republic for this video because we're talking about the future of the Force, and the High Republic is the past. The new era of Star Wars, the post-female future Force world, has plenty of powerful, forceful women. There's Ahsoka Tano, an absolute legend. Rey, she exists. Okay, I have mixed feelings with Rey, but my problems with her are mostly about how she's been poorly written and her storyline kind of devolved over time, squandering the great potential she had. There's still a chance to make her a good, well-rounded character again. I loved her in The Force Awakens. But I digress. My complaints about the sequel trilogy could and should be a whole other video. And now we have Sabine, one of my personal favorite characters. She's tough, well-rounded, and
I have known many Padawans over the centuries, and I can safely say your aptitude for the Force would fall short of them all.
okay, I used that clip as a joke, but genuinely I do love that angle for her. It's a small detail, but it does a lot to move forward the ideals and legacy of the past while also allowing Sabine to be a Jedi without causing confusion or continuity issues.
Or maybe because she doesn't have the Force, you don't believe she can do this?
No. The Force resides in all living things, but you have to be open to it. Sabine is blocked. Her mind is conflicted. She's so expressive and yet so tightly wound. She's so...
Mandalorian.
Ugh, very.
This is an aside, but I just wanted to say I love how allowing Sabine to be Force sensitive, but also having low potency in the Force, introduces an intriguing story arc for her, but also moves forward the idea that anyone could be a Jedi. This was an idea present in the original Star Wars, albeit subtle, because before we knew Luke's lineage, before midichlorians, and before the ideas of people being Force sensitive were really set into place as they are now, Luke just kind of seemed like some random farm kid who was taught some mystical mumbo-jumbo, more or less suggesting that the ways of the Force were something that could be learned, and weren't innate to who you were, or where you came from. I'm aware that Rian Johnson attempted to bring this idea back in The Last Jedi, but that was also quickly retconned as soon as J.J. Abrams was behind the wheel again. So it's nice to see this idea make a triumphant return with Sabine in Disney's Ahsoka. But I digress. As far as female Force power goes, it's a great start. If you want, we can even extend this a little. After all, there was
Forces of Destiny,
which was female focused and included characters like Padme, who's not Force sensitive and is dead, Leia, who is Force sensitive but chose not to pursue her training and tragically is also dead, Jyn Erso, not Force sensitive, also dead. I suppose on the dark side of things, there's Ventress, who's dead. And the new Sith, Shin Hati. I don't know how to pronounce her name, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's Shin or Sheen, and I don't know if it's Haiti. But you know who I'm talking about. The new Sith girl from Ahsoka. And I mean, Bo-Katan is cool, and also not dead, although she isn't Force sensitive. Now let's look back at the Legends canon and see what forceful females we had in a pre-Forces female world. Of course, there was no Sabine in the Legends canon, but we did still have Ahsoka, and Leia Organa Solo, who was a trained Jedi Knight and still a senator. That's pretty powerful if you ask me. I really miss this version of Leia. Sequel trilogy really did her dirty. Not to mention her daughter, Jaina Solo. Not only did she have a cool purple lightsaber, but she was also known as the Sword of the Jedi, which is a pretty sick title if you ask me. She would even go on to marry Jagged Fel, who would eventually become the next and first benign emperor in the Fel dynasty. Then there's Tenel Ka Jo, Jason Solo's romantic partner, Chum Da to the Hapes Consortium, and mother of Alana Solo. Alana Solo, who, by the way, was gearing up to become the Queen of the Jedi before the Legends canon was tragically cancelled. Mara Jade Skywalker, ex-spy for the Emperor himself, literally referred to as the Emperor's hand before becoming Luke Skywalker's wife, and the mother of my personal favorite character, Ben Skywalker. Saba Sabine, an awesome Barabel Jedi Master who would later act as Grand Master during Luke Skywalker's exile. Tahiri Vela, an adopted Tusken Raider who later joined Luke's new Jedi Order. She played a large role in the Yuuzhan Vong War, and would later be manipulated into becoming the Sith apprentice of Darth Caedus, among other things. I know the people who know that I'm skipping over a lot of information. Lumaya, Dark Lady of the Sith. I'm only familiar with what's mentioned in the Legacy of the Force series, but my understanding is that Lumaya was, at one point, secretly Darth Vader's shadow hand, among other things. She would go on to train Jacen Solo and help him along his path toward the dark side. Alima Rar, a Twi'lek Jedi Knight who would eventually turn to the dark side. She would go on to work alongside Lumaya and Jacen during the events of the Legacy of the Force. And I just wanted to make a special note here that she, at one point, fought the Solos on various occasions utilizing Force projections, here referred to as Force Phantoms, of herself from across the galaxy. Doing this did not result in her death, not even close. I'm looking at you, Rian Johnson. She was killed by Jacen. Ventress is, of course, canon to both continuities. Satele Shan, okay, I'm cheating a little bit with this one, because she's not really part of the future female force, as she was Jedi Grandmaster during the Old Republic. But Satele Shan, aside from just being awesome in general, it's also worth noting that she's a descendant of Darth Revan and Bastila Shan. Mirax Horn, not Force-sensitive, but a cool and significant character all the same, and the mother of Gisela Horn, who was Force-sensitive, and was also involved in one of my personal favorite Star Wars arcs. I'll only touch on it briefly as it's not the focus of this video, but to make a long story short, during the events of Star Wars Fate of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker is sent into exile. Meanwhile, Jedi begin going insane, spontaneously and without warning, suddenly believing that everyone around them is an imposter and has been replaced in some massive galaxy-wide conspiracy. This would later turn out to be the doing of a certain Force bringer of chaos, and our beloved Queen of the Stars, Abeloth. Oh, Abeloth, the mother of the Mortis gods. I should clarify, though, that when I say mother, I don't mean by blood. She actually had been a servant to the Mortis gods before falling in love with the father and marrying into the family. She became a peacekeeper and was able to quell even the constant fighting of the son and the daughter. Unfortunately, the Mortis gods were immortal, and Abeloth was not. She aged and would eventually grow old and die. To remedy this, against the wishes of her family, she drank from the font of power and bathed in the pool of knowledge, an act that granted her the immortality she required, but corrupted her in the process, turning her into the twisted, immortal entity Abeloth. She became the bringer of chaos and forced the ones to lock her away, left stranded and imprisoned on a planet by massive technological space stations, particularly Centerpoint and Sinkhole Station. It was Jacen Solo's actions with the destruction of Centerpoint Station that would lead to Abeloth once again being unleashed on the galaxy. I mean, Abeloth is basically the Genova of Star Wars. Anyway, I'd say that's pretty substantial. I didn't even have to add in a bunch of non-Force users like Bo-Katan, another character shared by both canons, to fill out the list. I'm sure there's plenty I've missed too. I didn't even mention Darth Traya, but these are just the ones I could come up with off the top of my head. But with all that said, does any of this even matter? Well, I'd personally say yes, because I genuinely love most, if not all, of the missing characters I just mentioned, and I really need them back. Maybe we don't need all of them, and there have been plenty of rumors about Mara Jade making an eventual return, but I still miss Alana and Abeloth and Tenel Ka, Tahiri, and I think you get the idea. But this is all actually besides the point, because as it turns out, the whole future of the Force thing is bunk anyway.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction.
It was never real to begin with. Admittedly, I only found this out when I went to double check when Kathleen Kennedy allegedly said this now iconic phrase, only to find, with just a basic amount of research, not even that much, just literally a quick Google search, that apparently this phrase was never stated by her at all. It seems as though, in reality, the Force is female originated from a Nike campaign or that was sponsoring the festival in which Kathleen Kennedy was photographed wearing this Force is Female shirt, referring not to Star Wars, but Nike's celebration campaign for the Air Force One shoe line. As it turns out, the Force has no gender. Regardless of that, I still think it's important to continue including new, and restoring many of the old, forceful females of Star Wars. But now this raises a new question to me. Where are all my non-binary and gender-neutral Jedis at? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Just kind of a quick, fun little, hopefully fun, little video that I kind of had in mind. But in any event, this is Chiin Ferno signing off. And not to mention her daughter, Jaina Solo. Not only did she have a cool purple lightsaber. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta get a prop for this. Okay. This thing is incredibly hard to get out. This is Revan's lightsaber. Oh wait, do I need to turn it? How am I supposed to get this thing out? I've gotten it out in the past. How did I do this? Is it like you press it down and pull it out? Oh, you press it down and spin it. That's what you gotta do. Alright, I got it out. In case anyone wants to see my kyber crystal. It's hard to tell because of the lighting I have in here, but it is glowing. Let's see. If I turn this one off, can you tell? Yeah, you can kind of see it now. I guess the black light is kind of interfering with the glow. Oh no, you can kind of see it. All right. Oh, listen. Ah, there we go. So, I mean, not Jaina's lightsaber, but, you know, a pretty good second. Am I not using the right blade? Is that what's going on? Hold on, I'm going to try a different blade. This might be, if I remember correctly, I think this might be one of those Force FX ones, and then I might be trying to use a Galaxy's Edge blade, and I'm pretty sure they're not exactly compatible. Yeah, this feels like it might be a little more solid. I hate this ring. It would be fine, but like there are these things, and it's like you can move them out of the way so it's easier, but I mean, it's still not that easy to get this thing spun on. Here, I'll hold it away from the camera or from the microphone. Now that'll make much difference. Nah, framing wise, it has to be here. I'll just move my mic. She would even go on to marry Jagan. Who's Jagan? All that work for such a little payoff. But, you know, honestly, it's worth it. I say little payoff. It's just all that work for a small scene, but great payoff. But Satele Shan, aside from just being awesome in general, it's worth noting that she's also... Oh, hold on. Man, am I even going to be able to see? Okay, what does it even say? I really wanted to use this one in the last video, and there were definitely some places where I could have, but just didn't. Actually, did I? No, I'm thinking of my Boba Fett mask. Here. I've got a Boba Fett one, too. I just haven't had an excuse to wear it yet.